Today
Alright.
is the first day of the Pearlcast, and I'm humbled to be able to record this first episode with a fellow student at Pearl, Josh Thompson. Josh,
Right.
welcome
That's
to the Pearlcast. How you feeling, man?
all right. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, man. It's great. It's great.
Now, before we get started with our interview, I'd just like to shortly explain a little bit about what the Pearlcast is to people just tuning in as well as it is the first episode. This
That's
podcast is meant to be a educational experience and tool for people who are curious about what others think about this current state of education, how people are looking at alternative education, and how we can do more to create an impact and influence others in the world of just learning. And there's so many things out there. So that's why I'm glad
right.
to be
Yeah.
here with Josh. So, Josh, for people here, there's a lot about you, like considering you have your music as someone who produces a lot of beats, you
Right.
have
Right.
your personal development or self improvement journey going on, and now you're a new student at the Pearl. So, could you
Right.
give us a little bit
Yeah.
of background on how you kind of got to this place?
All right. So the Pearl, right? The Pearl. My mom enrolled me into the Pearl like after like a bad school experience, and She learned about it from just research. She was already into democratic schooling, so she just researched all of that, and then she got me in here. Yeah, and it's I got into music, well, I guess because of my dad. He was like a musician and stuff. So yeah, and then I'm doing self improvement as well. So yeah.
Could you go a bit more into depth about how you originally thought the Pearl would be and then how it turned out to be?
All right. So my initial thought of the Pearl, I just thought it was gonna be a online schooling. I was gonna be like so boring. I'm just gonna have nothing to do all day. And when I actually got there, it was actually quite the opposite. The teachers made the learning really fun. It was a great experience, and the students as well, really great people, really great people. Everyone's so good. So yeah, it just turned out to be like not what I was expecting. So yeah.
Right. And you did say that you had a bad experience in your the previous school that you were in, which unfortunately a lot of
Right.
students do have to face. Do you mind
Yeah.
going a bit more into detail about what was good about the school, what was bad about the school, and go into depth on how that bad experience has now changed your perception of education as a whole?
All right. So what was good about the school? Okay. The only thing that was good, the only thing was that, well, I got to hang out with my friends at, I guess, whenever there was a break. That was really the only good thing. Because other than that, the teachers, they were not interested in my learning. They were just interested. Me personally, I just feel like they're interested in getting paid and going home, right? Because the class that I was in, it was kind of perceived as a unruly class, you could say. But all of the teachers, they said, "Oh, we were the worst class they had ever dealt with." They thought everyone in there was just bad, and there was no fixing them. So, right, there was no fixing them. And there was this one time where I had COVID. Right, I had COVID, and I had sent a letter to the school that I had COVID and I couldn't come. Right, so the week after I went back to school, I wasn't even feeling like all that, but I went back because I had exams to do. Right, and I went back, and I told the teacher had asked me why I wasn't here. Mind you, I sent a letter to the school, right? And he asked me why I wasn't here. I said, "Sir, I had COVID. I couldn't come to school." And he looked me in my face and told me, "You're lying. You're lying to me. You did not have COVID." I sent a letter to the principal. You can go ask. And he's like, "Okay, sure. Let's get on with the class." And stuff like that's what can really hurt a student's like mental, to the point where, okay, I don't want to come to school. I hate school. I just want to stay home. And it's another thing was, um at schools in where I am, Jamaica, right? You have to wear uniform. You have to wear a uniform, and your hair has to be really low. So even the hair I have right now, that would be considered, you're gonna get kicked out of the school if your hair is like this. You're gonna get kicked out. And stuff like that, that can, like, why does that matter? Why should that matter in schooling, Because it doesn't make any sense for you to tell me, okay, your hair is this length, you can't come to school. Like, why, So now I just feel like, okay, school is just it's meant to be somewhere, like actual proper schooling. It's meant to be somewhere where you can go and you can have your own opinion, and you can have like your own like standards, while also following the rules of the school. But and I think that's what the Pearl offers. So yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about those experiences, and yeah, it can be really terrible for a lot of people when the people that are supposed to teach them and help them ultimately to further their education and growth are there and don't trust them and can't give them, even decent respect for your class, that
Exactly.
saying that, oh, they're unruly, like there's no point. Like, knowing that even if maybe you were one of the people who was making trouble, wasn't making trouble, to put that assumption on a whole group of people is not really
Exactly.
fair. And especially for teenagers, people who are still learning and developing in this world, it's very, very important that we're able to be different. We're able to, be given attention and structure. And sometimes school does not provide that. And you're right. That's something that helps out with, which is also something that I've
Right.
seen and I definitely appreciate. So
Right. Yeah.
now with the Pearl, what do you think you gain out of education and learning? And what are some of the most interesting things that you're currently learning with that new perspective?
Okay. So first I have to say, well, it's a democratic school, so you choose what subjects you do. And for me, I'm doing dynamic earth, like geography and world history and math. And it just takes it's a new approach to learning. It's not like, okay, just write this down and do homework. And it's actually like you actually have to like go and, okay, you can research this and you can come back, we can have a whole discussion on it, right? It's a whole new way of learning. I think that's a really, really effective way. So, and yeah, that's really interesting as well. So I think that's what the Pro does great.
Got you. And what classes are you taking again?
World history, dynamic earth, and math.
And out of those classes right now, what do you feel is your favorite, and what are you learning in that class?
My favorite class, I would say it has to be probably dynamic earth, really, because first of all, the teacher just makes it really. She makes it such a fun class. Shout out Marietta. You know, um, my favorite subject, my favorite topic, I guess. The most interesting thing is the way we're learning about the tectonic plates. We did a whole experiment on that. Well, we had to like get some graham crackers and foil paper, and we would like just like mimic it to be like the earth and how tectonic plates are moving, and that was really interesting to me, and that was a really fun experiment to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And see, the thing I also notice is that in comparison to school, or like traditional normal school, when we learn about things, there's always a negative connotation about learning something new.
Yeah,
And where it's
exactly.
like when you're learning about tectonic plates, maybe in a traditional school where you're forced to learn X, Y, and Z, it doesn't feel as interesting. But when you're genuinely interested and invested into the topic, and you get to, for example, do experiments where you're getting
Right.
firsthand experience and you can make mistakes, and that's okay. The democratic school, one thing that I'm curious about, from your perspective, is I see it as allowing you to make mistakes and you don't get punished for making mistakes. Whereas
Exactly.
in a traditional school sense, you get punished for making mistakes, even though the truth is we're not perfect and we always make
Exactly.
mistakes regardless.
Everyone makes mistakes. So at the Pearl, like for example, grading, you're not gonna get like, oh, this is you got a 60%, you're failing this class, you're failing the grade. You'll get a what is it? It's like you get credits, right? So if you actually do something, no matter what it is, you're not gonna be say you're not gonna be like it's not gonna be like, oh, you got a 60%, you didn't do well. You're gonna get, oh, you did this. There could be something you could put something else on it, but you did this. That's great. You get a credit for that. But the only way you don't get a credit, it's if you do absolutely nothing. So the teachers will also they'll like guide you. They'll tell you like, oh, okay, I can see you did this great, and you could actually add on to it by saying something else. So they guide you when you fall short, I guess. Unlike traditional school where even if you do half of it, they'll be like, oh, 50%, you're failing the class. That's what I think the Pearl does really great as a democratic school.
Absolutely. You're right. And
Yeah.
what do you think people should know more about, in terms of alternative education, or what really is it? Because for a lot of people, they don't know something like a democratic school,
Mhm.
another option exists. So what would you
Right.
say to those people who maybe want to know more?
All right. So a democratic school, you can take it at face value. Like you basically decide everything. You are you are a crucial part of almost like everything the school does. Even in hiring teachers, you're if you're on the school board, the youth board, you are able to, you know, you have access to the teachers that they hire or they're doing interviews. Like students are present during teacher interviews, so you can like ask the teacher questions as well to see if that teacher will be great for you. And the thing that really caught me off guard is they literally ask you what you think about everything. Like they ask you what you think, and that's kind of like game changing for me because in traditional school or wherever else I was, like nobody asked me what I wanted to do. It was always okay, you have to go and you have to do this, you have to do a specific topic, you have to do a specific work. Well, no. Well, here you can choose what you do. You choose your subjects, you choose what projects you do, and yeah, that's it's basically democratic as it says.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just one of the many things that makes a democratic school like an actual realistic option for. And yes, there unfortunately is a lot of stigma that I do see around, online schools, for as our example, the Pearl, where, oh, it's online school, it's different. Where I'd argue that having an online school where you have maybe one class in the morning, class in the evening, gives you a lot more time to genuinely study, genuinely learn new things, instead of
Exactly.
being forced to be somewhere for a certain amount of time and then go to another class for a certain amount of time or go into another class.
Right.
It's instead,
Right.
you decide your education, like you said. And I think having that control and freedom, it gives a lot of people, an opportunity to experiment and figure out what they like and what they don't like. Maybe they can take a lot of classes. Maybe they don't have to take as many.
Exactly.
But I think with
Exactly. And
that, oh, go ahead.
I also want to say Fridays are free. You get your Fridays free. You don't have to come to class. You could spend your time doing something that you want to do. Maybe you didn't have the opportunity to do it before. You can spend your time doing, you can do community work, or maybe you can just take something you've always wanted to take, but just because of school, you probably not had the time to do it. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and I think that's also a good point. Having a whole free day to maybe go out with your friends and stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe pick up and do hobbies or things that originally may have not been as possible because of the environment you were in. And I think that's
Right.
also an important
Right.
thing that I'm curious how you see it. What is the environment like to you in a traditional school compared to how it is now for you in the?
Well, the thing is, it was really different because it's, as I said, the teachers, they were just most of the time degrading us, like telling us, "Oh, you guys are such a unruly bunch. If only you," and in comparison, that's how. If only you were like, oh, if only you were so much like this kid who would just sit down and do nothing. And that's kind of that makes you feel bad because you're being compared to another person. Like you're not even trying to compete with this guy, and you're being compared to him. And whereas with the Pearl, everyone everyone is there and they know what they want to do, so it's more effective. And it's like everyone here is also, they know what they want to do, and they've also had bad experiences in traditional school, so and they know what it's like, so they're not gonna really like, oh, say this about another student. Everyone's always so nice and polite about everything, respectful.
Yeah, yeah. So everyone's respectful to each other. Everyone is on kind of the same level, the same page of just
Right,
like, hey, like I understand maybe what you've been through. Like I've gone through that situation and kind of, I think that this should be a more open option, not just to people who've had bad experiences, to people just who maybe haven't had maybe an interesting experience, or maybe something that, you know,
yeah.
maybe stimulated them to say, hey, maybe there's something else I can try. It doesn't have to be for unfortunately everyone that just has poor, or not a, or I'd say negative experience, but it should be open to everyone. So I do agree with that point. Add on to that, because I've had my fair share of bad and good experiences with traditional
Right,
schools,
right,
and I don't
yeah,
think taking away, because there are, like you said, the pros of being in a traditional school with having all your friends around, or having like a bunch of
yeah,
people to
right.
talk to. So I guess actually on that note, I'm curious how you've kind of socialized, or have you stayed in contact with people from your old school? How have you like dealt with the social aspect of now being in a online high school?
Right. So as I said before, you get like your Friday's free, right? And the thing is, a lot of my friends like going to traditional high schools. They have every day, but sometimes when you come home, you might be tired. But when they come home, they might, okay. I can say, okay, guys, you want to hang out? They're like, okay, sure, we can go hang out on like a Friday, or and I just keep in touch. We have each other's phone numbers, so like we always talk and stuff. But as I said, your Fridays are free, and you never know. Maybe at the end of a rough school day, maybe your friends want to hang out. So that's really what I've been doing for my social aspect, like just hanging out on my free days. So yeah.
Got you. And I know a lot of people have felt like some sort of disconnect, especially with the pandemic. How do you think
Mhm.
you have countered that, or worked towards keeping yourself, social and kind of in the world? I'd say besides hanging out with your friends on a Friday.
Uh, Probably just, I don't even know, because even with the pandemic, it was just like it was really crazy for me because you couldn't go out and you couldn't do anything because I really got like really depressed during that time. So yeah, it was really challenging for me. But yeah,
All
that's it
right.
was that was really challenging.
All right. Yeah. And hey, look, everyone's had their fair share. The pandemic has done a lot of bad and good at the same time for a lot of people. But I think importantly, it has awakened people's minds to the
Yeah,
opportunity of virtual education.
true, true, true. Yeah,
I think before it wasn't even like an option. Like it didn't, like that was not until the pandemic. Like the thought of going to
yeah.
an online school was just not a
Online
thing.
school. Yeah, everyone, nobody was talking about that. It was such an unpopular opinion. So yeah.
How do you think that opinion has shifted with the pandemic?
Well, people have realized that, okay, well, this is actually a very convenient thing because, well, you can be here like at in the comfort of your own home, behind your computer screen, and you can actually, if you do it effectively, you can still be learning, you know? So I guess people have actually like found it can be convenient. So that's how the opinion has shifted a little. Maybe some people are still like not for it, but me personally, I think it's really convenient.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, convenience is an important aspect. I 100% agree. I think it allows me to do more things as well. Just in general, just like
Yeah,
I can wake up, go do a bunch of stuff, not have to be at at school by the like bell ringing at like 8 o'clock. And instead I'm like,
yeah,
all right, I have Spanish at like 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and I can go do a bunch of things. Have the convenience and ability to go move around, go travel. Maybe if I need to grab something or go do something. And I think
right.
it also trains us in a way. I feel like it's training us more for the real world, kind of like the aspect of like not everything's going to be centered on just going from somewhere from this time to this time. Like you're going to have to be all over the place. You're going to be having to do stuff constantly. Like, so I think in a way this helps you prepare a little bit better.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
All right. My last question for you is, do you think there needs to be a change in the systems of education we have, whether that be in the world, whether that be in Jamaica, but in general, do you think there needs to be a change? And if yes, then why?
Yeah, I think there definitely needs to be a change. Well, I'm just locally, like for me in Jamaica, I it's probably not gonna happen, but it would definitely be a like a game changer if we could just like, can we just stop like caring about like physical like aspects? Like I know it's a rule, but it's like you can't kick someone out of the school just because they have a certain level of their hair is like high, or they have a fade, or their eyebrows are cut. My friend, like he has kind of like a his eyebrows are like cut, right, like it's a style, right? He got suspended for a week just because of that, you
Yeah, I
know.
would
And
I
I'm
would be suspended if that happened, bro. That's-
like, it's crazy because I feel like they need to get rid of that and probably like implement a more democratic aspect in school, like actually ask students what they think. Maybe they could actually do that for a change. Actually ask students what they think, because maybe you never know, it might actually help you too. And that's just what I think, like uh in Jamaica and in the world. Just ask students what they think, implement a more democratic side to school, you know. That's what I think would make like a huge difference.
yeah, I do. I mean, I agree. Plants, yeah, and true with the uniform. One thing I'd see a lot, and I think I don't know if this is exactly why it's implemented, but in terms of like having people trained and disciplined to like follow like orders and listen to other
That
people.
Oh my god, I was just about to mention something like there it's literally training you to just become someone that can just take orders. Like you're not trained to think for yourself. Like that's what they're doing, you know?
And I think that's a honestly terrible thing. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't,
exactly.
because it doesn't promote creativity. It doesn't promote you to actually go and want to do
Yeah.
things by yourself. A lot of students just feel bad. Like a lot of students just genuinely like maybe they don't have the best experiences, but in terms of actually going and changing that, that's not possible for them because they're stuck in that environment where it's just not, it doesn't feel like an option. But luckily, right, a lot of us with the internet as well, and I'm curious in terms of kind of self improvement on how like the internet has helped you grow and change as a person, because a lot of people have access to the internet, but they're maybe stuck with going and going on their phone and just being like, oh, let me see what I got texted and this or whatever news is going on.
Mhm.
And I think we do need to take a step back and look at everything the internet has to offer. So yeah, I'll go back to
Exactly.
my question about like how has the internet helped you in terms of learning and self improvement?
All right. So the internet has definitely it's helped me because it's like it's revolutionary. Like there's literally all the information you could have ever like wanted, like literally at your fingertips. So, if you wanna like learn about, okay, you have a specific topic, you can go and research it on Google, Wikipedia. There's all these blog pages out there, and it's helped me learn like a lot because I know, like, especially in music, because I know back in the day they they didn't have the internet. So, you would have to actually know someone who knows something about, you know, music, it's the software to use. And nowadays, all you have to do is just download FL Studio, download something to make beats on. There's tons of YouTube videos out there how to make this type of beat, how to make this, and that's how I've really like grown and developed like as a musician. Like I'm I've almost mastered the piano like just through tutorials like on YouTube, you know?
That's
So
sick. That's sick, bro. I gotta say,
yeah,
I'm impressed.
uh, just through YouTube tutorials. So there's really no limit to what you can learn on the internet, but a lot of people just use it for the wrong things, right? And in terms of self improvement, there's a lot of things that the internet, I don't know if I can say it on here, but there's a lot of things that the internet has really like, it's really opened my mind to. Like I've never really like it's a like broadened my horizons. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, you're right. It's not. There's like, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. There's so many opportunities. So I think that's really interesting that you mastered a piano with YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
I find that
Almost,
fascinating.
almost.
Oh yeah, almost. You're
Yeah.
still getting there, but yeah, man, that's sick. You know what? If you want to, I'll keep this in. But if you want to like, you know, do a little like beat or something at the end of this, we can make it the
Oh, dude.
outro. We can make it like the intro
Uh,
or the
I
outro.
make I make a beat in 5 minutes.
Five
Oh
speed
my
run, bro.
god.
I
Oh,
well, I think we're
man.
gonna end it here now. So my our friend here, Josh, can go make us a beat for the new Pearlcast, and that is episode one.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy we had this conversation, and
Yeah,
shoot,
definitely.
we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah.
Okay. You